the actual government itself.
Yes.
We can show it.
Right, okay. If we just bring it over here and we can see it here. Yep, that's lovely.
Yep. Light, more light?
Yeah, maybe a little bit more light there. Yep, that's fine. Now, take a look at this.
You see the sovereign seal with
Yes,
Éire?
I do.
You see, that's the mansion house, like that's
Yes.
the round room.
Right.
And these are all the people, look.
Yes.
These are all the sovereign daughters. They all took the oath of allegiance to the sovereign Republic of Éire.
I see.
And that's what's so important, look.
Yes.
David Éire has himself in the middle because he wasn't in the first sovereign Dáil government. He was in Lincoln jail. But look at Countess Markovich.
I see.
You know.
It's incredible, actually.
And look at down at the end. Look.
Yes.
And that's important that you
Yes.
see that. Look, it's the 21st of January. But look at it there. Look.
Yes.
It's on it. Look, 21st.
Yes, I see it.
And can you see it? Look, 1919.
Yes.
So there's no mistake about that. And that is the whole purpose of this, is that the Cairo gang came over to annihilate all those members of that.
My goodness.
And that's how you have the Free State today. They were annihilated, as you know.
Yes.
And that's what Britain did. But you can't trace it if you don't have those facts.
But you see, you have to have the facts. Yes.
If you don't have the facts, you can't
Yes.
trace that.
No.
And that's why it's so important.
Oh dear, I don't know, what a troubled history. But we're not getting the proper facts.
If you got the facts, you could. Every child could do it.
Yes.
Fair enough. You show those.
Yes, yeah, no, that's fine, Billy. That's grand.
You have to show Vaughan's Hotel.
Yes. That is very, very impressive.
That's 29.
No, I'm fine, Billy. Yep, that's great.
20. Do you want light?
No, I'm fine. Oh, yes, yeah. Small bit of light, thanks. Yes.
That's 29 Parnell Square and Granby Row, and it looks out onto the Garden of Remembrance. And underneath that are all the tunnels.
Yes.
And the Toglock, the printing press, which there was one given to the university because there was one in Willowbank. And that's very important too. That's how they got all that Common Lamon and Afina and Nini Nahairn.
Yes.
But they were all great people, all those people.
They were the founders of our state.
And the way they're treated, it is shocking. And I think it's a disgrace what's going on.
But Billy, from a layman's point of view, and I think many of the people, the great members of our marvellous historical societies across the country,
they don't speak.
They will actually.
I hope they do.
Verify.
You saw that.
Yes, I did.
This is the Free State.
Yes.
If you found the Cairo gang, right? They were annihilated.
Yes.
Instead of, as Joe McGrath said, it was either one or the other.
Yes.
Either we were annihilated or
Yes.
they were, and that's what's important. The other thing I want to, you can't trace it if you don't have the facts.
Yes.
And the facts, and this is why I was so cross with RTE, that they wouldn't say, you think that they would do some bit of research, as you said.
Yeah, I'm flabbergasted.
And they know, because Tom Maguire was over the radio program. He was over RTE radio.
Yes.
And
yes.
I knew Tom very well, and I spoke to him, and he told me many times, the history program on Sunday never even mentioned it. And nobody went to Vaughan's Hotel. Nobody went to read the Vaughan's Hotel papers. I mean, how can you expect? There's something very wrong.
There is.
And it's all about money, and it's all about taking the assets of the state from the people. Here, the people are sovereign, and all you've got to do is look at our sovereign constitution. Where have I that? I put that someplace or other here. And it's all there. It's all there for the people. The other thing, and nobody talks about. I mean, I've heard them talking in those discussions at the weekend that when the Crown forces went down to the Croke Park, and they went in, they claim in their report that the IRA fired the first shots inside the Croke Park.
Yes.
That's a blatant lie.
Yes.
Because there was a flare fired.
Yes.
And that was the signal for the Crown forces to open fire in Croke Park.
Now, there's a fact that never came out in this documentary.
No,
never.
No, never tells you those things.
No.
If they read the Vaughan's Hotel, why did they not read the official report in the Vaughan's Hotel papers by the IRB and what happened.
Yes.
And about Michael Collins and they're known as the 12 Apostles, those people. Why did they not read those? Why did they not read Sam Maguire's? Why didn't they publish Sam Maguire's intelligence that he brought from London from the post office on the Cairo gang that were sent over by King George V and the British government to annihilate all the members of the sovereign Dáil Éireann government? And the members included the judges and civil servants, you know, and we would have had no government. And Britain was, the whole thing was sorted out for them. No, they came back then and they imposed on the 6th of December 1921, you talked about the dates, 1920, 1919, 1918 for the 1916, 1917, 1918 for the 32 county elections, 1919 for the sovereign Dáil Éireann government. We've read it all there, shown you. And then 1920, when the Crown forces came over, then you had the Cairo gang to annihilate. That's what they were sent over to do. And that should be that. Why isn't that written?
I'm just flabbergasted. I
don't
know why.
We have the, and they're deliberately withholding that information from our people.
But why would you broadcast something that's not factual, that is up in the air with sort of,
Isn't that what it was?
And that
no facts.
No facts. And the facts are there.
These people rewriting our history.
Yeah.
An absolute.
That really worries me.
And that's what
that really worries me.
And that's what they're doing. And what about all those misfortunate volunteers went out, 8 strings IV on their buttons?
Yes.
You know, and fought and did it for us.
Yeah.
And the way they're treated today is scandalous.
It's absolutely outrageous.
And all these people sitting down, the President of Ireland and all that, they're total traitors.
No, but
they're betraying the people is what they're doing.
But you see, they're not.
So is RTE. RTE is propaganda, lies and deception. And I read it out there on the Friday when they said that Michael Collins, he sanctioned the Bloody Sunday. He did not. He did not. It was in Vaughan. If you want to Vaughan's Hotel, you see, this is what they didn't want to. It was the Supreme Council of the IRB.
Yes.
That sanctioned it.
Right.
And they didn't want that. And that includes a lot of people. And then they have to ask the question, what are all these people pretending that they're members of Dáil Éireann? You hear it now. Yeah. Dáil Éireann never sat in Leinster House.
Right.
It was imposed by King George V and the British government to pay for.
And remember, but also it was King George V and the British government who signed the contract killing through the Cairo gang to come over and annihilate all our top people.
Because I did all those documents for Brendan O'Regan in the university. I used to do all those for those people who used to come and look for that information. I used to go up and get them. My father sent them out. There were a lot of them were brought down to Arthur's Quay, to Francis Street there, where our offices were and the mills were. Yes. And then they were all sent out to Willowbank. The carpenter was Billy Maloney, and he strengthened it. We showed Willowbank. There's two. Look at that. You see, there's 2 valleys in that house. Yes, yes. And Billy Maloney, that's where all the Vaughan's Hotel papers were kept. Now, the university's just here. Look there. That's the River Shannon running along here. That was
right. But just to conclude then, Billy, the one thing is...
Before you conclude, you have to mention Conor Clune and yes. Right, because we have to mention those. They're because they were in Vaughan's Hotel. And they, that was Conor Clune.
But just
Conor Clune, you have to mention Conor Clune, who was from Quinn, County Clare. Yes. And there was a big family there. I think it was MacLysis he was working in the gardening.
I see.
But he was a great Irish scholar in that. And I said about the Tagle, the printing press. Yes. And I think he was going to do articles for that. And he was up in Dublin. I think he was going to go teaching or something. I'm not sure now. Something like that, because I knew those Clunes very well, and Monica worked in RTE, Monica Clune. Yes. And you think that they'd even?
I just wonder, is there a connection? I remember years and years ago there was a family. I think it was called Clunes Tobacco. I wonder would they connect?
There was a lot of those Clunes there, but they were from Quinn in County Clare.
Yes, I see.
But Conor was up. and he was taken out. Now the others, Dick McKee, which is McKee Merricks in Dublin,
Oh yes,
now,
McKee,
called
yeah.
after him, and Paddy Clancy. They were part of they were all the Supreme Council. I said they met in Vaughan's Hotel, and that's what they were all doing there. And they were anyway. It was raided, and they took out. They caught the other two had been deported. There was a fellow called Hart, Christy Hart. He was a great man, and the intelligence told him, look, there's going to be a raid on Vaughan's after the morning of the killings, and they caught. He was staying at Conor in the hotel about that business, you know, trying to go to do right. I told you the chocolate, the printing press was underneath. They had to keep it down in those tunnels, and they just walled up and everything. You know, these rooms that they had there in all those tunnels. You could walk all under. You still can under Dublin. Yes. We did it there in 2016, but they took him out, and they were tortured, and Paddy Clancy was tortured, and Dick McKee, they were tortured and executed in Dublin Castle.
A point I want to make just before I conclude, while it's in my head, and you mentioned it there, it is not right, it is incorrect to state that Bloody Sunday was somebody fired the first shot. Was it the British? Right. Was it the IRA or something? In fact, it was a flare sent up as a signal for the British to open fire. That's it. That's the fact.
But you see, you cannot understand how did the British set up the Free State.
Yes.
And all this along the line, and you can see why the Free State was set up, because if the Cairo gang had annihilated, the sovereign Dáil government, there wouldn't be a Free State.
No.
Because we wouldn't have got our independence.
Yes.
But you have your, and this is where you never hear that you never hear that it was the IRB, and it was IRB Sinn Féin.
Yes. IRB Sinn Féin, yes.
That got the mandate to have the 32 county election. They won it. They set up Dáil Éireann, the Sovereign Republic of Éire, the Sovereign Dáil Éireann government, the Sovereign Dáil Éireann court, the War of Independence as a defence force, and be accountable to the sovereign people. That's what it's about. And that hasn't happened. Until that happens, you'll never have peace in Ireland. And I'm asking now the two eminent lawyers that we have in the state, who were presidents and supported by the will of the people, Mary McAleese and Mary Robinson, to take that case to the Hague.
Yes.
Why? How did Guinnesses and Lord Rothschild and Rupert Kipling, they gave that £250,000 to buy the top-class German guns that caused as a consequence of that, the IRB had to set up the Irish Volunteers. That's how they were set up.
I see.
As a consequence of it.
Right.
And that should be, if you were any civilized country in the world, you would, and you have something like the Hague, the court, that is where you would take. That's what Pope Pius XII wanted.
Yes.
That it would go to that, a legal, and that's respected, and the truth would be told.
Yes.
And what happened? We had the peace, reconciliation, and prosperity process, which never came into being. And Chuck Feeney, Brendan O'Regan told me, he put up 6 million for that to the University of Limerick for the peace, reconciliation, and we gave Willowbank. That house you've seen there, that's what we gave. We gave that. And how is it that never came into being? And that they changed it to the Peace Initiative, to the Peace. And what happened to all that money that Chuck Feeney put up for that? That never happened.
Question. I'll tell you what, maybe we should get on to Primetime Investigates.
They're not interested in...
You never know. You just never know. Billy, thank you so much indeed for your great time. And this is so important to get people talking.
Well, I think and nobody did it, and that's why we're doing it.
Well, that's exactly.
Nobody mentioned
and I'm privileged and I'm honoured to be here with you.
You're brave enough to do it.
No, I think the truth is the truth. And, you know...
To follow that, isn't that to those misfortunate volunteers that went out, those that were executed?
They have to be respected, like the people that died in the famine. We can't airbrush them out of history.
And the more you do, the worse it gets.
Exactly. Billy, thank you indeed. Gora míle mágad agus slán.